Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Success Life Live. My name is Reid. I am your coach, and this is Success Life Live. We do this each and every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern because getting this thing right, getting our programming right, getting our thinking going in the right direction is what's going to allow us to build our life of success, build our vision, and build our dreams, and ultimately create what we want to create in the world and in our legacy. So I've been getting together with you folks, so to speak. It comes and goes. The room grows and shrinks. For now, oh Lord, over 2 years. And somebody asked me the other day, how did you do this? And I sort of felt like, a 12-step program, just one day at a time. But it really did start with a 30-day challenge. And anybody that knows me, I say I'm not competitive, but I'm probably the most competitive person with myself. And so I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I thought, well, what happens if I do one more day and then one more day and one more day? And here we are now some 2 years into Success Life Live. And so I appreciate the fact that you've joined me on the journey, whether you started yesterday, today, or 2 years ago. Thanks for stepping in and joining me in the room. Let's take a minute. Who's joining us? Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Muhammad. Somebody else slipped by and I didn't get to see him, so you're just going to have to give a shout out, give a number one, say who you are so I can see what's going on. I got to get my other camera back. This one is like making me feel like I'm doing this for some reason. So yesterday, busy day. There's a lot of feeds down below. We started with Success Life Live at 8 o'clock, and then at 11 o'clock I was over talking about intentional living on Greg Skush's show, The Lion's Den. So we did the law of intentionality. Then at 4 o'clock I was with Tamara, and we were just talking about life in general and servanthood and my experiences and things like that. And so that was a ton of fun. And then at 7 o'clock was a total geek out fest. If you missed it, you're going to have to catch it here or over on the YouTube. Over on the YouTube, as the kids say. Over there on that YouTube thing the kids talk about. There is a author talk with my friend Sebastian Richards. We totally geeked out. We talked about superheroes. We talked about leadership. Got to talk about Captain America and Iron Man and the different styles of leadership. And if you're serving a Superman leader, what does that look like? Or a Wonder Woman leader and things like that. And it's so fun because we were able to see the characteristics of the superhero and then sort of break them down, take off the armor, lose the superpower, and see what kind of character they were and how they led others. And then I had asked him what he wanted to be for 2019, like if he could be any one of the superheroes, not based on their superhero power, because everybody defaults to wanting to fly. What would he want to be? And he said, I want to be the Batman, because he is the dedicated, disciplined, going it alone, dark leader that always shows up and follows through. And I mean to build some consistency in my business and consistency in my life, and the Batman is that representation. I thought, okay. So I don't know, maybe instead of setting goals, if you haven't got them done or if your resolution is feeling awkward, maybe you got to pick a superhero to be for the year. Good morning, Bradley. Good to have you in the room. Mine is Captain America. He's like my default superhero. I just love Cap. He's a man of character. He's a man of commitment. He goes into the fight whether he's going to win or lose because he knows that's where he needs to be. He's kind of my guy, but I don't know. Maybe I'll pick a new one for 2019. Who knows? My son will be upset, so I won't. So that was, and then we got Fun Friend Friday coming up. My friend Tom is going to talk to us about building a warrior spirit. And so that's going to be big. Y'all better get your men up in the room because Tom talks to men and talks in a powerful way. Not to say you ladies can't benefit, but if you've got a man, a son, an uncle, a brother, a dad, a husband, a partner that you want to see grow, maybe you should say, like, how about we have breakfast together and watch this thing called Fun Friend Friday with Eric? He's got some guy coming on. Tom Watson will change him. I promise you. And he changed my life, and that's why I can say that. But again, not to genderize. Ladies are welcome. They can learn. They can teach. And I always think it's funny because when I talk about men issues, when we're like, oh, we don't get to be included, I'm like, no, listen in. Understand what's going on up in here with your men folk. Understand what's going on in their heart. Because if you can understand them, then you can influence and lead them to become better men. So don't step out of the room, lady. So, on to today's lesson for Success Life Live. Thank you guys for jumping in. I had posted what happens when the story changes. And this is sort of a bit of an outgrowth of all of the conversations yesterday, from intentionality to Tamara and her cancer buddies, to even going into the 7 o'clock author talk and beyond. What happens when the story changes? And what I mean by that is right now we're at the beginning of the year and we've got these goals, we've got these visions, we got this purpose, we got this plan, we got all this stuff we're going to be doing. Like we are totally into it. Like this is what it's going to look like. Like we've written our entire year out. And then the car gets a flat. A kid gets sick. We might lose our job. We might get sick. We might develop a major family illness. We might have a bill come due that we weren't ready for. The roof leaks, the water heater blows up. Something goes wrong. Something gets in the middle and the poop hits the fan and you're standing in front of it and you're like, this isn't part of my plan. I'm supposed to be going to the gym, reading my book, developing my lessons, saving for my trip, blah, blah, right, whatever. And you begin to battle against that. And all that energy, all of that focus of like screaming at the busted water heater or kicking the flat tire or yelling at the chemo specialist or whatever it is, all of this energy, when life doesn't go as we planned and we're focused on it, shifts our attention from how we had planned life to go. And what I mean by that is I wake up every morning and I have my daily journal and I have my calendar, and we kind of went over that with tomorrow's thing. And when I look at my day ahead, I see my day very intentionally. It's like, okay, I need to be here. I need to be there. I need to be present for this. I need to be present for that. How do I want to arrive in this moment? Good morning, Mike. I want to be present for that moment. And so when something comes up in my schedule that wasn't, so to speak, on it, I then get to make a choice. Like, okay, do I scrap the rest of the day? Do I scrap the rest of my life? Do I scrap the rest of everything? Or do I just compartmentalize? And I'm not saying compartmentalize in a negative sense, but the example that I gave tomorrow when we were talking about it was several years back. I don't even remember how many. I had been having what I thought was like kidney or urinary tract infection. I was like, my belt buckle's on fire, so to speak. So after complaining for a couple days and whining about it, I finally was told, if you don't shut up, shut up or go to the doctor. Shut up or go to the ER. That kind of thing. So I went to the ER. They said, nah, it doesn't look like, you're not spiking your feet, can't be but let's just do an x-ray, an MRI, whatever it was, just to be safe. I was like, okay, I'm in, what the heck, you've got the next 45 minutes, go for it. Well, the technician sort of slipped or made a mistake or divine intervention, and they discovered it wasn't kidney stones, it wasn't a urinary tract infection. In fact, what I was having was an abdominal aorta aneurysm. I think I got that right. Basically, one of the blood vessels that feeds the lower half of my body was about ready to pop like an overfilled water balloon, and it was pressuring on me and making it pain. Okay. I was like, okay, cool, fine, I'll deal with it. No, you don't understand, sir. You've got like 10 minutes if this thing pops. Like, if this thing pops, you're dead before you get to spell the word dead. I'm like, okay, I got it. Like, maybe not playing contact football today would be a good idea, right? And they're like, you're not understanding this. And I said, no, I understand. But this is not my whole story today. This is not my whole story of my life. Yes, my story has been interrupted. Yes, an extra character has been added to my story. Yes, an extra scene has been added to my vision and my mission and my purpose. But this is not going to rewrite my purpose. This is not going to rewrite my vision. This is not going to rewrite who I want to become in life. Because before you told me that thing existed, it was down there doing what it was doing, it just didn't have a name. It didn't have an identity, so to speak. And I had already known what I wanted to do and who I wanted to become and what my life was about. And you just added a new character to the story. And so if you think I'm going to stop my story, end the vision, the mission, and the purpose that I've planned for myself, no! I'm going to look at this and say, it is what it is, and I will deal with it as part of that story. It will become a scene in the story that when the chapter closes, I'm still on track to become who I want to become, to do what I want to do, change what I want to change in my life. And so, in my typical humor, we had to go through some pre-tests and things like that. It was about a week before my birthday. I begged the doctor, pleaded with the doctor if we could do the surgery on my birthday, because if the surgery didn't go well, I didn't come out. I thought it would be so cool to have my tombstone read same day, born on the same day, died on the same day, and have people be like, oh, that really sucks, dying on your birthday. And I just thought it would add humor to the graveyard because, I mean, everybody needs a little laugh at the gravesite. Well, he agreed. And then as we proceeded to go into it, he said, this is going to be about a 5 or 6 hour surgery. So everybody here in the waiting room, settle in. It's going to be that. It ends in about an hour, hour and a half. He comes out, and you can imagine everybody's like, he died. I mean, there's no reason the doctor should be here. It's only been an hour, 2 hours. He said it went so well. He's in recovery. There was no problems. We were in and we were out. It was like no big deal. I think in part because I approached it as I just need to go through this to get back to where I need to go, that my body, my spirit, the divine, the things that guide and lead me were like, okay, we're staying on track. Had I stopped my story, had I ended right there and said, oh, I've got this thing, I can't walk today, I can't do anything today, I've got to just sit here comfortably and quietly and wait for it, it would have consumed all of the energy, all of the focus, all of who I was in such a way that nothing would have been pulling me into the next thing. There would have been nothing moving me into my next place. And so there would have been no reason for my body to recover quickly. There would have been no reason for the surgery to go well. There would have been no reason for recovery to be half-shorted. Because there was nothing waiting for me at the end of this chapter. There was nothing waiting for me when this scene closed or this character walked off stage. And I know it sounds really kind of like, woo, West Coast metaphysical. But what I'm saying is, if you're letting one thing define your entire story, your entire life, your entire purpose, your entire being, what happens if we remove that one thing? If you're battling cancer and I could remove that cancer, is there a story still left? Is there a purpose still left? Is there a mission still left? Yes, I believe that. If the flat tire was removed, the job loss was removed, the sick kid was removed, the whatever hardship, whatever barrier, whatever excuse you're pushing up against, if that was removed, would there be any reason for me as an observer, if we're using the movie analogy, to stay engaged with you, to watch the rest, to pour into you and give into you and add to you? Would there be any reason to stay around? I hope so. I encourage you so. That's what success living is about. But so often I see people that make one element the entire story. And there's so much more to you than that flat tire, that job loss, that bank account, that, oh, I missed the gym today kind of thing, the sick kid, the cancer, whatever it is. I'm not making light of it. And I'm not dismissing it as not important. And I'm not saying you shouldn't give it what it needs to do. But there's more to you. And an example we talked about with Tamara was the idea of somebody battling cancer and having to go into the chemo room, or into the cold room, as I call it when I go, is I either have to go or I get to go. And if I choose to say I get to go show, in an example of a woman maybe battling breast cancer, because it is so common and so prevalent, is I get to go and show my daughter that this is not my whole story. I get to go and show my daughter the character and the quality of the women that she is born and bred and raised up from. I get to go and be the one person that beats the odds and gives hope to everybody else. I get to be the person that does cancer in the morning and the marathon 6 months later. I get to be, and if everything that I spoke about was saying that this thing that I'm battling is only part of the story, and I'm going to choose how I'm going to weave it into the rest of my story instead of give up my story so that this can dominate. What are you looking at right now? We're now, 9 days, 10 days into the start of the year? And you've already said, oh, I don't get to be the gym person, the fitness person, the health person, the coaching person, the book writing person, whatever it is, because this has interrupted my life. Or what last year, 2018, did you look at and go, had it not been for this, my job loss, the flat tire, the sick kid, the battling of illness, and my mother, my uncle, my brother, myself, my family, What was that one event that you let take your story last year? What was that one event, maybe it was a couple, that you forfeited your story for? We've all done it. I've done it. What I've begun to learn is when I hold on to my vision, when I hold on to my purpose, when I hold on to my why, my story continues. Maybe a little different, maybe a little altered, maybe in a different sound, in a different song, so to speak, but my story continues. And it becomes richer and thicker and more because I held on to it. And then it had value. And the more value it had, the more I held on to it. So I kind of want to encourage you, if you're in the middle of that season, and we talked about one of the gaps in the law of intentionality in the 15 laws of growth about timing. Now is not the time. You don't understand. I'm going through this. I'm going through that. I'm battling this. I'm battling that. Last year I had to, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. It's your choice. It's a nice thing about life. It gets to be your choice. But if you're writing a story that is so big, so impactful, that adds to the generations of the generations of the generations you'll never see, I can't think of anything here on earth that can take you out of your story except you and your mindset and your approach and your attitude. So, just an idea. Stop forfeiting your story for little tiny events. Don't give them up. Don't let it go. Your story, your purpose, and your passion is bigger than you can see. It's bigger than you can really know. You know it. You feel it here. It's this thing that keeps interrupting it. It's looking across the fence and trying to... And what's even funnier, sometimes we'll create our story. We'll look around and it's okay, I need something to take me out of the game. I need an excuse. Because living this big, living this large, living this vision, passion, purpose is getting kind of scary. So, oh Lord. And we start to create our own tragedies. And there's a lot of, talk about you can manifest the good and you can manifest the bad. Sometimes we manifest into our lives tragedies, events, circumstances, or circumstances occurs and it's completely null. It's got zero influence and power and whatever on us. But we start to expand and explode it and arrange it in such a way that suddenly it becomes oh yeah, you're right. You're so right. That little kid that spilled milk over there in, Scandinavia, that's probably why you didn't get your job today. It's really? You need to show me how those are related. Oh, they're related because you needed them to be related so you could have a tragedy, because in the past you've always created chaos and confusion and tragedy and destruction so you could get out of the story because you weren't either fully committed to it or it was too big for you to see and believe in. So, that idea of bad things happen to good people, I don't think bad things happen to good people because good people want bad things to happen so they don't have to stay being good people. But that's a different day. That's a different teaching. I just want you to stick to your story. Like in the courtroom. Is that your story? Yes, Your Honor, that's my story. Then stick to your story and don't let things interrupt it. You are so much more worthy than that. You are so bigger than that. I always think, I sometimes feel like Grandpa Moses, that if we could get out of ourselves and go far, far away and live above, the clouds and the rainbows and the unicorns and the cotton candy, and we could see the echo of our lives stretched out for 100, 200, 300 years, what would that look like? Because that's my story. And really, the flat tire, the sick kid, the job loss, how much is that going to, really? Over the echoes of time, am I going to let this stop? I used to hate when I would do Bible studies and they would do the begats. So-and-so begat so-and-so, begat so-and-so, begat so-and-so, and you'd be 30 people in, And half of the names you couldn't pronounce, and the other half of the names you would never put on your kids, so you don't know why somebody would name their kid that. And then there would be this one event that would occur that would like change everything in a biblical context. I was like, why didn't they just start there? Why did we have to read like the 25 generations that came before them? It took me a while to figure it out. Because that was the person that didn't interrupt their story, that was able to pass all of that down so that this could occur. So I'm only here, and I've got all of this down here, and then something, oh man, I can't wait to read my begats. I can't wait. And that's kind of what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to remind you, we got Fun Friend Friday tomorrow. Please jump in and join me. Get some people to join us here. Share it, like it, follow it. Hit the notify me when Eric goes live so that you don't miss Fun Friend Friday tomorrow. If you need me as a coach or as a speaker, those are the two things I primarily do. Lately, it seems like I'm doing a lot of consulting with people on books and branding and marketing, which I love. That's like my total junkie juice. Like if somebody hands me a book or a brand idea and says, could you give me some advice? I love that. It's just my juice. Let me know. I'll be happy to help you with that. You can always private message me or go over to my webpage, ericgreid.com, and there's a Connect Now button. Also, if you're not on the newsletter list, ericgreid.com/subscribe, and that will sign you up. It only goes out Tuesday. It does not fill you with full of buy this, link this, do that, because that's not what it's about. It's all about being of service to you in a different capacity. Last week, Tuesday's newsletter was about understanding your why, and I actually created a course that's already up online, but the ebook should be finished today. If not, definitely by Monday. I'm really unpacking your why and understanding your why. So if you didn't get on the newsletter, get on the newsletter. I'll make sure you get the ebook. You can do that through ericgreid.com/subscribe. It also gives you the upcoming guests. We got some phenomenal Fun Friend Fridays through January and February, and some great author talks coming up as well. So it's a great way to stay connected, get involved, and know what's happening. All right? Well, I appreciate you guys for jumping in and joining me. Go out and make today your success. Don't let anything interrupt your story. Don't give up your story for something small, because you are so much bigger than what it feels like sometimes. So when your story starts to feel like it's getting interrupted, go, ooh, no, you're just a character in my story. You're not my story. You're just a scene in my story. You are not my story. This is just bad lighting. I know where to go find it better. All right? You guys take care. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have an awesome and incredible day. Before you leave, take a moment, hit share, and tell somebody why they need to tune in to Success Life Live each weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. Good morning, Louisa. I'm glad you're here. I miss you. We have so many overlapping, conflicting schedules. I often feel like I'm like racing around like the Titanic, trying to say goodbye to everybody or hello to everybody or whatever. So I'm glad you're here. I miss you. You're such an influencer. All right, you guys have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.